I'm Steve Johnson, News Director for theDove TV. Check out our other videos and visit our website at thedove.us. Thanks.
Well, one of the stories that we've been tracking, in fact, all of us have been quite concerned about, is the pregnant Sudanese Christian woman who's now been captured and sentenced to death. Who we have with us this morning is Dr. David Curry. He's with Open Doors USA. He's the CEO of Open Doors. David, nice to see you, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for the work you guys do. You guys do a terrific work. Tell us about this gal and why is she sentenced to death?
Well, it's important to know her first name is Miriam, and Miriam was a doctor in Sudan, and she married a Christian man, and her members of her family who are extremist Islamic believers reported her for alleged adultery because they don't recognize her marriage to this Christian man. And the courts have last week upheld her adultery charge, which means that she's going to be lashed 100 times and sentenced to death. This, despite the fact that she was legally married, despite the fact that she has a child, she's pregnant with a child. They're enforcing a very strict Sharia law interpretation of this case, and we're deeply concerned about it. We're asking the international governments to put pressure on Sudan to take another look at this and to stay her execution.
What can our listeners and viewers do to help you?
Well, we're hoping that the believers here in the United States are going to take an active role in advocating for the life of Miriam, this doctor in Sudan. They can go on the opendoorsusa.org website in the upper right, sign up to be informed on this, and then we're going to send petitions to the UN, to all the political bodies that can put pressure on this group. But first and foremost, make it an issue of prayer in your small groups, in your church, and on your daily prayer list, that we could be praying for Miriam and cases like Miriam, because there are millions of believers around the world that are not free to express their faith in Jesus.
Wow. Now, did she convert?
Well, she was she was pressured to convert to Islam, if that's what you're asking, and she refused.
Yeah.
And that is part of why they're upholding her apostasy charge.
And she's 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, that's right. And we don't expect her to be executed while she's pregnant. What is likely to happen is that they will wait for her to give birth and nurse the child, and then they will execute her and then hand her baby not over to the father, her rightful husband, but to the other members of the family that are Islamic believers. So it's not something we understand in our Western culture, but this is what Sharia law does. And while we're called to love everyone and love Muslims, we are in cases around the world where these extremist regimes are imposing their beliefs on believers, and in many cases, like Miriam's, threatening to kill them if they don't convert.
That's an amazing story. What's happening to her husband?
Well, her husband is known to be a Christian. He comes from the United States. He has a Sudanese background, so there's no charge against him in this case.
Wow.
That I'm aware of, anyway.
Wow. Okay, well, certainly our prayers are with Miriam, and again, you want us to ask our government to get involved, certainly put her on our prayer list, and you'll be tracking this, and right now, is she sentenced for that, for not only to be executed, but is she sentenced now for the punishment? Has that happened yet?
To our knowledge, that has not yet happened, but she will receive 100 lashes for this alleged adultery because they don't recognize her marriage.
Will they do that while she's still pregnant?
I don't believe so, but I'm not certain on that point.
Okay, wow. David, again, thank you. And how can people support Open Doors?
opendoorsusa.org. Just be involved, be prayerful. Understand that these are our brothers and sisters. These aren't strangers. They're part of our family. We need to pray and support them.
Amen. Thank you, my friend. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's Dr. David Curry. He is the CEO of Open Doors, doing a great work. Well, we're going to keep track of this, and I know that's been in the news. Can you imagine that, Steve? It's just hard for us to get our brain around this radical Islamic faith, and it's kind of like convert or die. And it's an amazing thing to watch. Yeah. And Miriam, just put Miriam on your prayer list and with your group prayer list as well.
Focus Today coming up. Stay tuned.